One mental error or faulty piece of equipment can end it all.
Not every event, lap, or turn can be recorded every race weekend. Sometimes, the only people that can witness key moments are the ones at the racetrack themselves. Today, it seems to happen less and less as there's coverage for almost every event, qualifying, and practice session in the world of racing. But that hasn't always been the case, as there have been many incidents lost to time due to the lack of coverage that they received. Today, all we have are a few still images, aftermath photos, and witness accounts from those said events. Join us as we continue our series of incidents in NASCAR, Lost in Time.
What's up, everybody? It's Vanillawafers here, and yes, summer may be coming to an end, but the world of thirst is still at an all-time high. Just look at this poor sap over here.
Please, sir, I'm dying of thirst. I know I live in a desert, but please, you gotta help me.
Absolutely pitiful, and there could be plenty others to suffer that same fate, but not no more, thanks to Liquid Death Iced Tea. With 6, count them, 6 amazing different flavors, Liquid Death Iced Tea is able to conquer your taste buds with only 30 or less calories and much less sugar than the rival brand. And best of all, whether you're suffering from itty-bitty little baby-sized thirst or
mega jumbo monster truck size thirst,
either way, Liquid Death got you covered.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Please, can I have some?
Would you shut up? All this ad talk has made me a little thirsty.
Oh God, don't drink it all, please. I need some.
Yeah, fine. You can have whatever in this. Now you better get out of the way because the rest of the world needs to be conquered of thirst. Make sure to go to liquiddeath.com and grab yourself a drink of Liquid Death. Don't be scared. It's just iced tea.
Watkins Glen might be considered to many as the best road course on the NASCAR schedule for multiple reasons. From its fast layout to some of the most memorable finishes in racing history, the Glen has been able to provide great entertainment to the fans. With that said, this track has seen a lot of dark moments in its lifetime, some that are commonly reminded to the fans, and some that have vanished from existence. Today, we have 2 crashes that we will take a closer look at, as they have been virtually forgotten in time for one reason or another. In 1992, 1 year after the tragic loss of J.D. McDuffie, the track decided that it was best to add the inner loop that we see today between turns 4 and 5 to help reduce speed of the drivers down the back straightaway. During practice and qualifying, everyone was focused on that part of the racetrack, as many didn't know how difficult or dangerous this add-on would be for the track. It turned out that the inner loop was not the main center of controversy that race weekend, but rather the S's in turns 2 and 3, as a driver by the name of Greg Sacks suffered a scary accident during his practice run. Photos showed that Greg Sacks made heavy impact to the wall in turns 2 and 3, causing his car to shoot up into the air and barrel roll off the racetrack. The incident was only captured by a few still photos before cameras caught the aftermath of the safety crew towing the car back into the garage area. Somehow, Greg Sacks escaped the incident without injury and went on the run in the race the following day, making this crash one of the few lost in time where the car physically exited the track. However, that wasn't the only crash that was missed in a practice session at the Glen in the 90s. Only 5 years later, another massive incident happened, this time in the Truck Series with future Hall of Famer Ron Hornaday. While running in his practice session, Hornaday lost brakes to his truck coming towards turns 10. This was one of the fastest parts of the racetrack, meaning that Ron could only pray that the sand trap, styrofoam wall, and roll cage of the truck held up for the driver to not suffer major injuries. As the truck came to turn 10 at full speed, the truck easily broke through the styrofoam wall, allowing little give for the truck and driver. The sand trap only made things worse, as the truck started to roll over multiple times before coming to a rest. The roll cage, however, managed to stay intact throughout the whole ordeal. In fact, the only thing left of the truck after the incident was the roll cage itself. Hornaday suffered some bruised ribs that already were injured from a racing incident before, but somehow managed to compete in the weekend event and wound up finishing 5th, showing his true strength and tenacity behind the wheel, making both these incidents at Watkins Glen end on a more positive note. It is still eerie, though, that some of the worst crashes to happen in the 90s managed to receive 0 camera time, as they were during sessions where no one was prepared for such brutal accidents. When it comes to the occasional NASCAR journeyman, they are usually rarely remembered past their time in the sport. Rarely do fans think of drivers who were around in the sport but never seem to be able to pull a race fully together and wind up in victory lane. Bruce Jacobi was one of those drivers who fit that mold. A driver that didn't come from riches nor a legendary racing family, just an average everyday man like you or me who truly loved the sport of racing. Bruce started his first ever start in the NASCAR National Series in 1975 and attempted multiple events throughout the late 70s and 80s. On his resume, he only attempted 25 races in his career and only qualified for 80% of those. With that being said, this journeyman driver has gone down in the history books for having 2 of the most horrific crashes that weren't fully caught on film. One happened in 1977, and the other happened in his final ever attempt. In 1977, Bruce Jacobi received an offer to run in the World 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It would be an unsponsored car owned by a man named Tom Goff, but it was an opportunity nonetheless. If Bruce could qualify for the event, then it would be his first start in NASCAR in over 7 months. However, Bruce wound up missing the event during a terrible crash that happened in a practice session prior to the race. During the practice session, a driver owner by the name of Rick Newsom lost control of his car coming around the exit of turn 4, right into the pathway of the 78 car of Bruce Jacobi. Once contact was made, Jacobi's car went airborne and rolled side over side down the front straightaway until it came to a rest on the passenger side and caught on fire. No video of the accident is available, as practice sessions were rarely televised in the 70s. Nonetheless, the photos tell the story. As brutal as the crash was, Rick Newsom escaped the incident without any injury, while Jacobi escaped the fiery crash with only minor injuries. Both drivers withdrew from the event, and NASCAR wouldn't see Bruce Jacobi return behind the wheel for another 3 years. By 1983, Jacobi had only run 2 races in the previous 7 years, a drought that signifies that a driver's racing career is basically over. But that changed in 1983, as a then 48-year-old received an offer to attempt one last race in his NASCAR career, and it was the biggest race of them all, the Daytona 500. Bruce would attempt the Great American Race in the 05 Pontiac machine owned by Dennis Taylor. Seems like this would be a great way for the driver to ride off his racing career if he'd be able to qualify. Unfortunately though, it only took 5 laps for that dream to be cut short by a vicious crash.
And a bad crash coming out of turn 2. One car has somersaulted several times and been destroyed on the back straightaway. Car number 05 going side over side and end over end several times. Bruce Jacobi.
In the final seconds of the incident, viewers witnessed the 05 machine flip over and over before coming to rest near the dirt embankment. The exact cause of the incident is unknown due to the camera crew missing the initial part of the incident. However, photos were able to capture just how brutal the crash truly was. Jacobi was critically injured from the crash. When he was removed from the car, the driver was unconscious and suffered a bruised brainstem and a severe eye injury. the driver never woke up from the incident. After being in a coma for 4 years with no brain activity, Bruce Jacobi sadly passed away at the age of 51, never regaining consciousness from his final attempt in the NASCAR Cup Series. To this day, all that we have are the final few seconds of the crash itself, leaving the cause of the incident a mystery to this very day. The Goody Dash series has become a common staple on this channel, but sadly for the wrong reasons. It was a series that allowed amateurish drivers to climb into past Grand National cars and race at some of the largest racetracks on the schedule at a cheaper cost. The problem was the cars were not at top standards when it came to safety, leading to some terrifying incidents throughout the 80s and 90s. By 2004, NASCAR had sold the rights of the series to iPower, short for International Participants of Winning Edge Racing, leading to some optimism that the series could carry some momentum thanks to the new series name. Unfortunately, that fell apart after only the first race of the season at Daytona International Speedway. On February 8, 2004, the first race of the iPower Dash Series took place at the start of Speed Weeks. 36 cars had entered into the event with a variety of drivers looking to compete for the victory. The race had longtime veterans, drivers making their debut, sons of NASCAR Cup drivers, and even a driver named Ray Perpoda, who was a paraplegic racer who modified his car to be fully operational from his steering wheel. We are going to focus on Perpoda as he will be at the main center of this unfortunate story. When the engines fired for the race, 35 of the 36 were able to get up to pace for the starting lineup, except for one car, Ray Perpoda's Pontiac. It appeared that the car was suffering battery issues, an unfortunate situation for the former Air Force pilot, as the driver had so much hope to run competitively as the first ever paraplegic in stock car racing at that level. The green flag dropped without the Zero machine in the starting lineup, and the start of the 6-cylinder event was underway. By lap 9, a scary accident happened in turn 3 that brought the race to a bit of a halt due to a driver getting injured. The only fortunate thing to come of this incident was that Ray Perpoda seemed to solve his battery issues and entered the race multiple laps down. It wasn't going to be a victory, but perhaps Perpoda could salvage a decent run in order to gain experience. Unfortunately, what happened next could only be described as a horrific tragedy.
Series.
Now we've had something happen here because Ray Perpoda, he just came out on the racetrack after this caution. He has all kinds of damage there. The instigator on the back of his car
Hasn't yet run a lap of green.
I don't know what happened, Larry, but it looks just like somebody has run through the back of that race car.
Looks like that gator took a chomp out of the tail end of that.
While the cameras focused back on the Zero machine, heavy damage was visible on the back end of the car. An odd thing to witness, as the car never experienced one green flag lap. So what happened? Did the car break loose and hit the wall? Was another driver not paying attention? Or did the car just randomly fall apart? The official word came just under 30 minutes, and sadly, it was an answer that no one wanted to hear.
Welcome back to Daytona, where the iPower Dash 150 remains under the red flag. After Jason York led the first 2 laps, Scott Weaver took over the front spot. On lap 9, a 2-car crash between Bill Clevenger and Tony Billings brought out the caution flag. During the caution period, an accident occurred that has involved one of the track's safety workers. So the cars have been brought to pit road and halted under the red flag, where we remain with 19 laps completed.
While picking up debris in turn 2, Roy H. Weaver III, a track safety worker, stepped onto the racing surface when the Zero machine of Ray Perpoda approached the turn at a high rate of speed. Ray Perpoda was trying to catch up to the rear of the field, and racing control was never notified that the 44-year-old was going to pick up some debris on the opposite end of the track. This meant that none of the drivers had any idea that someone was on the track when Roy Weaver approached the racing surface. When Perpoda entered the turn at over 100 miles per hour, he saw the safety worker at the last second, but it was already too late. When pressing on the brakes with a modified steering wheel, the car spun around and hit Roy Weaver with the rear passenger side of his car. Weaver had no chance of surviving the incident and was killed on impact. Once this happened, officials immediately called all the drivers to pit road and shut off the engines. Everyone over in turn 2 were shaken by the incident, as in a blink of an eye, a colleague of theirs lost their life in just an instant. While the race remained under red flag, commentators let the fans know that an incident happened between a safety worker, but didn't go any further to elaborate. It wouldn't be announced till later in the evening that Roy Weaver lost his life. No photos or videos of the wreck have ever been recovered, which is something I'm thankful for, as a crash like that would simply be too horrific to view. There was, however, one slight video of the aftermath of the accident that tells you how truly harrowing the incident was. While Mike Joy was letting the viewers know while they were under a long red flag, a scene of turn 2 was shown with trucks sitting in the grass area as water was being sprayed onto the racing surface. A scene that truly shocked me when I first witnessed it, as I knew why they were spraying the racetrack. Today, this series is rarely remembered after NASCAR sold the sanctioning rights in 2003 due to the long-lasting effects that this tragic event had on the Dash series. By 2011, the series shut down as a whole, ending a series that was meant to provide opportunities for drivers to race with an extremely low budget. Were there other reasons why this series eventually ended? I'm sure there is. But regardless of what the true reason is, many believe it was due to this terrifying incident that happened in February of 2004, an incident that has and will more than likely remain as a moment in NASCAR lost in time.